Family, don't get it twisted. Democrats ain't scared of Texas. They love Texas as a campaign prop. They trot it out every election cycle to scare black folks into voting for them, then vanish when it's time to actually deliver. This ain't about saving you. It's about saving their seats. Texas is the Democrats' favorite political Halloween costume. Every election season, they dust it off, drape themselves in the Save Democracy flag, and parade Texas around like it's a live grenade in the middle of the living room. The narrative is always the same. Look at Texas. Look at these Republicans and their voter suppression, their redistricting maps, their mid-decade power grabs. If we don't stop them here, it's coming to your state next. And yes, the Texas GOP does what they do. They've passed voter ID laws, closed polling locations in black neighborhoods, drawn maps that carve our voting power into pieces. But Democrats don't just react to this, they depend on it. They use Texas as a stage prop in the national drama, a warning siren they can blast to wake up their base. For them, Texas isn't a battlefield they expect to win. It's a fundraising machine and a turnout motivator. For us, it's our homes, our communities, our futures. That's the difference. This is their bread and butter. They make Texas sound like it's ground zero for the collapse of democracy. They tell you if they can do it there, they can do it everywhere. And it's familiar because they've said the same thing about Georgia, about Florida, about Wisconsin. Every cycle, there's a red menace state that's supposedly a domino waiting to tip over into your backyard. They don't rotate this message because it's original. They do it because it works. Fear moves voters faster than inspiration when you don't have fresh policy wins to brag about. Remember 2020? It was Save the Soul of America. Remember 2018? Protect the Affordable Care Act before they take it. Go further back, 2012, 2008, 2004, the story never changes. We're always a few votes away from total disaster, and the only way to stop it is to vote blue, no matter who. While they're pointing at Texas like it's the heart of darkness, they don't want you looking too closely at what's happening in their own backyards. In blue-run states, police budgets keep climbing while black neighborhoods see schools closed and hospitals underfunded. Democrat-led cities like New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles still have some of the worst racial wealth gaps in the country. And in places like Philadelphia and Detroit, Democrat strongholds, polling locations in majority black areas have been reduced, forcing longer lines and travel just to vote. They highlight Texas because it's politically safe for them. It's an enemy they don't control, so they can condemn it without risk. But if we judge them by their own record, the story wouldn't be as flattering. Let's talk about the political machinery that gets rolled out to sell this Texas horror story. Groups like Black Voters Matter and Family, let's be honest, they are not grassroots. They are tied into the same donor networks and political consulting circles as the Democratic Party. You'll see the buses, the matching shirts, the social media campaigns. They talk about building power, but the power they build gets funneled right back into electing the same Democrats who've been recycling the same broken promises for decades. Registering people to vote is not the same as organizing for independent political power. It's just restocking the voter rolls for one team in a two-team game that neither side is playing for us. Let's run the receipts. Democrats love to campaign on transformative ideas for Black America. But here's what happens when they get the power. Police reform? Dead in the water after the George Floyd Act failed in the Senate, even with Democrats in control. Voting rights? The John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act both failed. Student debt relief? Piecemeal, means-tested crumbs, and a Supreme Court fight they weren't prepared for. Reparations? Not even in the conversation. They had the presidency, the House, and the Senate in 2021 to 2022. They could have gone on offense. Instead, they went back to the same playbook. Make speeches, blame Republicans, and tell you to show up again next time. Fear campaigns are the cheapest product in politics. You don't need to draft bills or deliver results. You just need a villain and a camera. Texas gives them both. They can send fundraising emails saying, "Look at what's happening in Texas. Chip in $10 to help us fight back." They can flood black media with ads warning about Republican takeovers without having to spend a single ad buying space to explain their own failures. And because fear hits the nervous system harder than hope, it works. But fear doesn't build communities. Fear doesn't close racial wealth gaps. Fear doesn't bring down your rent or keep your kids safe at school. Yes, Texas Republicans are redrawing maps to lock in more GOP seats. Yes, it's aggressive and undermines Black and Latino political influence. But here's the part Democrats leave out. Flipping Keeping Texas isn't on their 2025 to 2026 map. They know it's not happening. So why the obsession? Because Texas is a perfect symbol. It's big, it's loud, and it's easy to demonize nationally. They use it to scare up turnout in battleground states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Arizona. Not because it changes Texas, but because it changes their seat count in Congress. For Black Texans, this isn't a political chess piece. It's real life. Texas still refuses to expand Medicaid, leaving hundreds of thousands of low-income Black residents without coverage. Predominantly Black school districts get underfunded, setting kids back before they even graduate. Environmental racism means Black neighborhoods are more likely to be near industrial pollution sites. The criminal justice system in Texas still locks up Black men at rates far above the state average. Yet these issues don't trend nationally. They don't make the DNC talking points. Because they can't fundraise on fixing problems, only on fighting enemies. The GOP comes with open hostility, voter restrictions, law and order crackdowns, resistance to even acknowledging systemic racism. Democrats come with friendly faces and softer words, but the end result too often feels the same. Black needs are deprioritized until the next election. Republicans scare you into staying home if you think your vote won't matter. Democrats scare you into showing up because the other guy is worse. Neither model is about earning your trust with actual delivery. Family, this is where we flip the game. We cannot keep showing up for fear. We have to show up for policy. And if it's not on the table, we keep our plate empty. That means setting clear demands before we commit our votes, tracking delivery, not just rhetoric, building local power that isn't dependent on either party's national machine. The boogeyman politics stops working when the audience stops screaming on cue. We need to make them work for applause and for our vote. Family, they've been running the same hustle on us for generations. Dress up fear as urgency, package it with a donkey logo, and sell it as salvation. Texas is just their latest prop. But here's the truth they don't want whispered, let alone shouted. The power they dangle in front of us every 2 years is already ours. We built it. We bled for it, and we don't have to hand it over to anybody who won't put it to work for us. We are not political hostages. We are not background extras in their campaign commercials. We are a people who have survived everything America threw at us. Slavery, Jim Crow, mass incarceration, and we did it by knowing who we are and standing together. So here's the deal. No more blank checks for politicians. No more lesser of two evils without a contract for what we get in return. If they want our vote, they better come with receipts before Election Day, not fairy tales after. Because the real fear they have ain't losing Texas, it's losing us. And when we finally move as one, on our terms, for our agenda, they can't scare us into silence. And they sure as hell can't scare us into submission.